Hey guys, it's John here from Sonic Drive Studio. Thanks for tuning in again, and as always, I hope you're all doing well. Time for another techie, geeky, nerdy video, because in this video we're going to compare these two wonderful reactive load boxes. The Fractal Audio LB-2 Reactive Load or X-Load, and the 2 Notes Audio Engineering Captor X. Both are excellent units, but they are quite different from one another. The Fractal Audio LB-2 Reactive Load is basically just a reactive load box. This very sturdy metal box just has 2 voicing options, a US and a UK voicing. On the front it has a DI level control, and on the back we've got some basic outputs, a balanced and an unbalanced output, and that's basically it. There's no DSP included in this unit at all, so it's not capable of loading IRs and stuff like that, but it's a very sturdy and reliable unit that I've used with great success on the channel for years. The 2 Notes Captor X is a very different type of beast. I recently did an in-depth demo review of this unit, so be sure to check that one out as well. I'm going to put a link in the description and also up here somewhere. So besides being a reactive load box just as the Fractal, this thing can also function as a simple attenuator, and it also has a bunch of super cool DSP built in. So this one is capable of loading IRs or impulse responses. It also has built-in cabinets, and there's a bunch of post effects as well, such as reverb, EQ, an enhancer, a twin tracker, and all sorts of good stuff like that. And you can control all that DSP via a wireless phone app, so that's really insane as well. Anyway, so those are some pretty big differences that we do have to take into consideration here. However, in this video, we're just going to compare the basic reactive load functions of both of the units, and we're going to do that in the following way. I will have 2 musical segments, one more modern high-gain clip with my Mesa Boogie mini rectifier amplifier, and then a more classic mid-gain clip with my Marshall SV20H or Mini Plexi. And then I will run those through the load boxes in the following order. First, I will use the Fractal Audio LB-2 with the voicing switch set to UK. So that will emulate the sound as if the amp was connected to a V30 loaded cabinet. And that has an impact on the impedance curves, and that's where the sound of both units will very likely differ. The US voicing is based on a 10-inch Fender speaker, if I recall correctly, so that would be less fitting for this test, so that's why I'm sticking with the UK voicing this time. And of course, for both devices, I'm going to use ownhammer impulse responses, and in the case of the LB-2 reactive load, the ownhammer impulse responses will be loaded into my Fractal Audio XFX3. And for the high-gain recto segment, I'm going to use the Revolution Trad V30-MB1, and I'm going to use the Forward 3 mix. And for the classic mid-gain crunch clip, I'm also going to use a Revolution cabinet, but this time the 412 MRBW M75 GNR cabinet, and I'm also going to use the Forward 3 mix this time. And then I will use the Captor X, but with all the built-in DSP turned off, so the IR loading will take place in the XFX3 as well, just as with the clip of the LB-2. So you'll just get to hear the basic and stripped down reactive load functions from this unit. And then I'm going to do the Captor X again, but this time with the same ownhammer impulse responses loaded into the Captor X itself, just to see how much the IR loading will make a difference. And for that purpose, I'm going to load the ownhammer impulse responses with the maximum IR length, so that's 200 milliseconds. And for the import options, I'm also going to go with the original state, so not with the minimum phase transformed options. It's going to be interesting to see how much they will differ in sound, so let's get started with a comparison. For the high-gain mini rectifier tones, I'm using the red channel on modern mode for that classic rectifier tone, and I'm using my ESP LTD EC1000T with EMGs in it. Here we go. Wow, that was pretty interesting. There's definitely a difference there. The fractals seem to sound a little bit bigger and more scooped, whereas the Captor X sounded a bit more dry, direct, and more mid-focused. So that was very interesting indeed. So in this case, you can really hear the difference between the impedance curves of both units. Now let's go ahead and check out the mid-gain crunch segment with my Marshall SV20H. And for this segment on the amplifier, I jumpered the channels. I'm using my ESP Alta D Elite Eclipse 1 guitar, and that guitar has a Seymour Duncan JB in the bridge position for that classic crunch sound. Let's go ahead and check it out right now. Again, pretty interesting. In this case, I think the differences were a little bit more subtle, but I can still hear similar differences in between the two units. So the Fractal was a little bit more scooped, and the Captor X was a bit more mid-focused and dry sounding. Now, of course, I'd be very interested in hearing your thoughts about this, so let me know in the comments which one you thought sounded the best. But there still is one important thing that we do have to keep in mind, and that is that the Captor X does allow you to shape the sound to your liking using the built-in equalizer and enhancer and stuff like that. And that's if we're just talking about the basic overall EQ curve, so not to mention stuff like the reverb and the twin tracker. I didn't want to use the built-in DSP this time around because I just wanted to focus on the main and pure reactive load functions of both units. But you could definitely use the EQ and enhancer effects to make them sound closer. With the Fractal, you can't really do any tweaking at all, so you just have to take the sound as it is, but it is a very good and solid sound. And with the Captor X, of course, you can always tweak to your heart's content. But that could, however, mean that in some instances it will take more time and effort to get the tones to where you want them to be. So those are all things to keep in mind. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please drop a like and a comment down below, as I'd love to know your thoughts. And also, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button along with the bell. And you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers!